Well, hey, what an amazing intro for 2022. I love it. It is glorious. And welcome everybody to TalkPAD, where we talk positively about dyslexia. And today is a glorious day because it's our anniversary, our first year. So thanks to the incredible duo, Jamie and Charlotte, for making this happen. That is
we do
the
our best.
joy.
We do our best.
You do, you
because you came forward with this, so thank you. We all made it happen.
I can't believe it's been a
I know,
year.
a whole year. Amazing.
It is. It is. And you are the incredibly dynamic duo from the unique online business community See No Bounds. I don't know if you realize this.
Well, we do.
And the glorious thing as well is that last year we launched as a podcast. It was just our voices floating around in the ether, bouncing off each other and coming up with great ideas and thoughts. But now it's glorious Technicolor. It's almost 3-dimension, but not quite. But that's what makes it wonderful. And it's live, isn't it? YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, it's all over the place. And what's even better than all that is we are welcoming back our wonderful guest from last year. And if you know anything about dyslexia, you will have heard of the legend who is Arran Smith. He is a leading light in the world of British dyslexia and legendary founder of the Dyslexia Show. Not only that, but he is a managing director of the Send Group Limited. He is a technology and educational consultant at Microsoft. He is a trustee with the BDA and so much more besides. If you want to know more, check him out on LinkedIn. There's a great deal of information saying about all the wonderful things that he does. I'm surprised you got time even to be here, Arran, but I'm so pleased that you are. So welcome, Arran Smith.
What's time? I have no idea what time is, but yeah, no, I'm here. Anything to talk to you, Guy. I'm like, I will always come and talk with you. Like we had such an amazing fun last time talking to all three of you. All four of us were talking.
Oh, you thought he'd introduce us then for a second. I thought he left us out then.
I just think it was brilliant. It was. So I was like, yeah, let's do it again. I'm happy to do it because I also know what you want to talk about. You gave me a small when you rang me up and asked me, would you do it? Can you talk about this? I went, yes, definitely, because it's going to be an amazing thing. It's like it's been 4 years since I started planning this, so let's move on and let's get it off the ground. Let's go for it.
We are delighted to have you on board again. Yeah. So over to you, Guy.
The thing is, actually, I will say this very quickly. We actually talk about you quite often, Arran.
I'm hoping this is a good thing and not a bad thing.
No, it is a good thing. Like we'll be walking along and the subject dyslexia come up, and for some reason now in our head, like you're kind of the face of dyslexia in our minds now, which is wonderful.
I'll give you that. That is really funny. So when I used to work, so I'm a trustee for the British Dyslexia Association now. I used to work for them about 5 years ago, and I was told then I was called Lord BDA or King BDA because I was the face of the BDA because I used to go out to lots of events and people used to see me. So I had my one of my line managers. I had many line managers called me Lord BDA for another number of months. So yeah, face of dyslexia. That's fine. I can cope with that.
Well, you know, your mum always said you had a face for radio, but now you're the face for
did do that. Yeah, I do have a face for radio. This is a first for me. I haven't got the ring light. I've got a square light, so it's fine.
We've just got a single light, mate.
We've got a single light. That's fair enough.
Yeah. Right, enough of us. Guy, take over and bring some order because I'm jibber jabbering.
Well, do you know what? Thank you, Jamie, for that introduction. And what we want to know is from Arran, what can we expect from the amazing, the incredible, the real life happening Dyslexia Show this year? Tell us.
So Dyslexia Show. Should we give you a bit of background first, then we know where it is? So Dyslexia Show was an idea that I came up with. I've worked in the field of dyslexia for over 20 years. And probably about 5 years ago, I saw that there's some amazing work that our charities do. The British Dyslexia Association, Patos, Helen Arkell, Made by Dyslexia. They do amazing jobs in their own unique way, but they're all charities. So finding ways to bring people together from a national point of view is quite difficult. They can do it in virtual senses and other ways, but the other thing that I saw that there was loads of these little regional events that were going really well. So they were getting people come to them. Like we had the Leeds Dyslexia Festival about 4 years ago that had over 1,000 people attend. And to me, that went, actually, we need a national event. We need a national event at a national venue. And it has to be big. It can't be small. It can't be just something that we start small and grow. It's got to go in big. So if you're going to do it, let's do it at the NEC in Birmingham. And let's have it as an exhibition, as an informed choice, so people can come and talk to exhibitors, talk to companies, talk to organisations that work in the field of dyslexia and the associated conditions, and that was the idea. Now, I sat on this idea for a long time, and I happened to be in North Wales, so not South Wales, North Wales, in a pub talking to a group of professionals about actually dyscalculia. And I mentioned this concept, and there was one guy there that worked for one of our sponsors, and he said, "Come and talk to us." So I went and spoke to him, and he said, "Right, we'll sponsor it," and that was Dyslexia Box, and they were our first sponsor, and that was like, okay, that enabled me to go away and go, okay, here's the figures, let's go and sort it out, and let's go and do it. The NEC agreed it, got a contract with the NEC, and we were all ready to go. March 2020, literally that weekend that we all sat there on that Sunday evening, and some politician stood up in front of his desk or stood up behind a desk and said that we can't go anywhere. The day before that, we were meant to be at the NEC and we never did it. And so we fast forward to now, less than 3 months away. March 25th, 26th at the NEC in Birmingham is the UK's first national exhibition dedicated to dyslexia and associated conditions.
So is it chargeable? Do you have to buy tickets to get in?
No,
there?
it's free. So it's free to attend. So anyone can register for free. And with that free ticket, you've basically got all the exhibition. So at the moment there's about 49 exhibitors. There is a keynote theatre. You can just walk in, sit down, lots of people speaking. There's 4 main keynotes across the day. We have a demo theatre, which you can just walk into. So companies are demoing their products, and then there'll be about 10 local associations there. So these are 10 local groups you can talk to about that. There is opportunities for parents to get involved in things like legal surgeries. So there's a legal surgery that you can join with our legal sponsor, Send Legal.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, if you want to do a session, so if you want to go and hear, say, Guy speaking, who is actually speaking in our workplace zone, that is a CPD session. So that's a paid for session. So if you're a parent session, it starts at £9. Teachers, it's £17, and workplace get it. It's a little bit more for workplace, but they get a better deal because they get a 2-day ticket for £79, including the VAT. They get all their seminars included, and they can go to any seminar and the whole show. They're just got to book for it. They also get tea and coffee included, and also the opportunity to have a free consultation around accessibility and disability from Dyslexia Box. So I think that's quite a good deal for them. And that was the thing for me is bring people together, have that informed choice.
It sounds amazing, absolutely amazing. I've got a question for you, somebody so as an entrepreneur, you might be wanting to be inclusive and include obviously everyone and be able to help people with neurodiverse conditions. So if I were to come along because I would want to be inclusive, will I be able to find things there that can help my future employees and be able to get the expertise from the people there?
Yes, that's the whole point of it. So you would be able to find solution providers to help you either as an individual. There'll also be some of the free talks, or the keynote talks. One of them is all about business. So it's a free talk. It's got a panel of people. I'm not announcing the people yet because one of them hasn't confirmed. So that will come in a few weeks' time. I might sneak you a preview near the end of end of this podcast. But that will give you that kind of the base of how they've achieved as people in business, people in organizations that have done that. So yes, you will get that information from there. And I think the biggest thing about what it is being part of a group of people that are really looking to support people with dyslexia and neurodiversity. And that's where the workplace bit really comes in. It's like that would be the best thing to do is get that £79 ticket, because that accesses all of them CPD sessions. So as long as you register, there's 11 sessions dedicated for workplace. You have this amazing speaker called Guy Brewer. I have no idea who he is, but I've heard him speak and he is brilliant. You've then got people like Michael Vanesh from Microsoft, who's the lead in accessibility. You've got the lead accessibility from Atos, Neil Milligan. You've got Jeanette Beethan, who's one of the leading experts in training for those that work for those workplace needs assessors. So it is like we have pulled together that program of people that are from the leading experts in the field of dyslexia and associated conditions. And actually, we can announce now we've got Amanda Kirby, so Dr. Amanda Kirby now, and she's professor as well. So she's another leading expert in neurodiversity, and she's agreed to speak for us. And that's the thing. That's the benefit of it, is that to get to see these people in your organization, actually, it's a lot of money for you. We were able to kind of support them and support us to do that. And actually, it's a national event. The point of it is national. We've kind of said it. It's there for parents. It's there for educators, parents, the workplace, and of course the dyslexic. And that's the point of it. It is. But I'm all about now.
That you've got there, mind. And I'm, Guy, are you okay with that lineup? I mean, it's.
I think it's. Are they okay with me? That's it.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
For me, I've listened to Guy speak many times, and I think it's brilliant. I love it to bits. So we wouldn't have asked Guy if we didn't like that. So that's thing. And I know the feedback from his clients are they love it to bits. So
he's changed my life, like
to me, yeah, and that's the thing. So let's have him. Let him share that knowledge, and be there. And that's the point of it. It's like we've got there's over 5,500 people registered to attend the show now, and the NEC. I'm going to put this in context. The NEC is a huge organisation. It's not a cheap thing to do, but they were so impressed that I got to that number for a launch show. They were like saying, "You're only going to don't bank on any more than 2,000 people. That's it. You won't get any more than that. And if you get any more than that, it'll be a fluke." And I said, "Well, we've just registered our 500. This was our 5,000 person we registered." And he went, "Do you want to make another show for us?" And that's what the business development manager. Can you actually come and do some more shows with us, please? And that was the thing. The downside is that person now has left the NEC, but he doesn't know it yet. But he's got to come back and open another show for me when I create show number 2 in a few years' time. So
I think it's absolutely brilliant what you've done, and to have this start as a launch of a show that is so needed. I mean, if you get £5,500. 5,500 people registering now, it just shows that people need to talk about this. People want to get involved, people want to understand, and people want to make it inclusive in workplaces as well.
Where do we register?
So you go to dyslexiashow.co.uk. Dyslexiashow.co.uk. It's an easy place to find it. Dyslexiashow.co.uk, and you just click on register now. And it's free to register. If you've registered previously, log in, update your registration. The one thing that we have to know is we all know we're in this concept of a pandemic, and everyone is kind of a little bit nervous. The big thing about the events industry is they have set the standards. So even though we had previously for this, we had a plan B concept. That plan B was happening already in the events industry. If you were going to an event, you had to do these certain things. If you were going to the theatre, you had to do these certain things. I know, I've done it. And we've spent a lot of time with the NEC, our contractors, to get that right. And that was one of the things for me. Before I announced it, we reopened the show back in October last year, and it took a long time before I was confident enough to do it, because we know we're going to have people that have got different conditions. We know that neurodiversity is a massive spectrum, but we want to make sure it's right for our audience. And we've got them contingencies in place. We've got that plan in place. I've got the best team, and just to point it out, my team of 4. There's only 4 of us. none of us are full time. Everyone is part time. If anything's like me, I'm doing like 72 jobs in different organisations. Of course, as a typical dyslexic entrepreneur, likes to do lots of things. But our operations manager, she's the best person we ever found, and she gets it right. And it's like literally, she has five. I don't do paper. She does paper, and she brings a box file to every meeting we have. And I'm like, just leave it over there, or put it over there near my fire because I need some new kindling. But that is how she lives it, and there's more contingencies than anything for this event.
Yeah.
But that's the reason is because I know, and going on to like thinking, let's take a parent. I know for me as being a dyslexic, and I was diagnosed when I was 9, my mum spent hours on the phone, and this is before the internet. She was on the phone every other day ringing the local authority up. Where's this bit of paper? Where's this? Where's this? And it was a minefield then. It's even more of a minefield now. We are a bit further on, but it's still difficult, and it's still like, do you make a decision to get a child an EHCP, an education, health and care plan? Do you make a decision to buy them a reading ruler, a scanning pen, or buy them an education product, or go to an independent school? Is that the right decision for that child? And then, okay, there's 20 to 100 independent schools. Which one do I go to?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that yes, there is 4 independent schools coming, but they're all different. They all have their own USP, and they have the right place for the right child. Is it the right thing for every child? No, it's not. Is it the right place for some children? Yes, it is. And that's the thing. It is. It's like I've seen the benefit of independent education, especially for people with neurodiversity. I've seen that, and I can see how it works. We're really happy actually that Moon Hall has just been is sponsoring the demo zone. So their brand, they only agreed yesterday, and that's really good for us because it means that they are coming on board. They believe in the show. It also allows us to do the demo zone as well, from my point of view. But it really, they're not there to get students. They're just there to say, you know what, we believe in dyslexic people. We've got 190 children at their school, all with dyslexia and additional needs, and they're supporting them. And we want to show people that we can do it.
The glorious thing about this show, isn't it, is that it actually brings some focus to the whole issue, because I know a lot of the people that I talk about are marginalized by organizations and employees who don't know what to do. They feel they should do something, but they don't know what to do. They ask the individual, you know, we will do anything, tell us what to do. And the individual doesn't necessarily know because they're having a hard time. So the great thing about an exhibition is that you can see stuff, you can pick it up, you can touch it, you can talk to people, you can talk to other people looking at it. It brings people together, and finally people got a chance to kind of normalize this thing, which is otherwise, you know, Amanda Kirby's Cardiff University, isn't it? There's a lot of research and technical stuff going on, and this just brings it into the public domain. And the gloriousness of it as well is that what's good about the website is that there's a bit for work, there's a bit for families, and there's a bit for education. So it's a wonderful website because it's direct. You can look at the bit that you want, beautifully laid out.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me is that my original plan was education and parents. That was the original thing, and workplace has come onto it. And actually, for me, the workplace is more interesting at the moment because there is a lot of change in the workplace industry. I think the workplace is it's still behind where it needs to be, but there is larger companies seeing that talent of what a dyslexic person can bring.
Yeah.
Like you said in your intro about me, Guy, I do work. I do have a contract working for Microsoft as their dyslexia consultant. Now, the reason for that is that I am dyslexic and I work in the dyslexia world. And that is the reason why they asked me to do the job, because I understand what they're doing, and I love what they do. Because I wouldn't do it. Every company I've worked for, the reason I've worked for them is because I love what they do, and I believe in what they do, and that's the important thing, is that I've seen that work. It is, and there is still skeptics out there. There are still people that kind of question a lot of things, but actually, the point of having an event with lots of different things there, from anything from we've got an organization called the Davis method of dyslexia. Now that is a very different way of teaching a dyslexic than the Autism-Gillingham approach, which is what another company would do, or the Alpha to Omega approach, which is kind of based on that, or based on Autism-Gillingham. And these are programs that have been around for such a long time. They're all a bit different, but one will suit one person. We're all different. We're all different people. We're all individuals, and we all learn in different ways, and not one thing fits every person. And that's why you are so right, Guy. You can go and touch them. You can go and talk to someone. You can have a community conversation with someone, because actually parent A and parent B are going to be in different parts and different journeys. And this parent's been in tears for 2 days. This parent was in tears a week ago for 2 days, but actually is now so happy. And this teacher has got this boy or this girl who just cannot break through this barrier. We cannot break the barrier down. It's like, you know what, actually we're going to do this, and it's going to change that person's perspective. And that is the point.
It's about education as well. I mean,
yeah,
little bit of education for me, and I can only speak from my own perspective. Like, we met Guy, well, just over a year ago now, and which I still can't believe it's been that long. And what I've learned about myself by speaking to someone else who's in the know has been phenomenal. But what that knowledge has done is it's then empowered me to be able to say, well, actually, this is happening for this reason, or I'm doing that for that reason. And to be able to go into a show or into an organized environment where there's lots of people with that knowledge, it's just so priceless.
Yeah,
for people like myself.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, it's all about understanding. The point about it is that I say to a parent, I have parents ring me up all the while and say, how do I support my dyslexic child? And lots of them say to me, how do I tell them? And I say, well, there's this book here. There's this book by Mike Jones. There's this book by a book called So You Think You Have a Problem, which is what I read when I was a child. And then there's Nessie have a book as well. It's really good for children. And they are different styles of books. One's very graphical, one's very easy to read. But one of the things I always say to them is, have some understanding. Understand your strengths, understand your differences and your weaknesses, and work on the strengths. Because for me, like, is it better for me to do a podcast, or is it better for me to write a blog? I can write a blog, but actually I'd rather talk about it. Is it better for me to send an email or make a phone call? It's better for me to make a phone call, because that is my preferred method. And that is my strength. My strength is my voice. My strength is my knowledge. And that is the thing you have to remember. And you're so right there, James, that having that, that's right. And the small downside with this is that you haven't put either. I know and I'm going to go Charlotte, and I'm hoping I get it right, because remembering names is my hardest thing. And that's why I love it. The guy's put his name there, and I'm right. And now just make sure, have I said your name right when I just said it? So right. I'm like, it's like the hardest thing. We are live as well. And I'm like, yeah, just make a mistake. It's fine, Aaron. It's like, but
I did a show once, mate, with two Richards, and I called one of them Murphy the whole show, right? Like, I am infamous for it, right? These days, if I introduce people and I get their name right, I get an applause. It's like, it's shocking, mate. It's absolutely
what you need to have that button thing in front of you, the Stream Deck, where you press it and it literally makes an applause noise, or brings up an emoji of clapping hands.
Yeah.
But, those are the little things that people don't know, and it's actually helped us as a family as well, because there was lots of little things, like, I didn't realize that the reason that Jamie couldn't tell the time was because he just can't do it on a face clock. It takes forever to work out what's going where, and I never understood why.
I had a job in a retail shop, and the store opened at 10 o'clock, and I used to get there between 9:30 and 9:45, in between that. Now, I know what 9:30 is, and I know what 9:45 is, but anything in between, is it 25 past? Is it 25 to? Is it 35 past? Is it 35 to? Is it 40 minutes past? 40 minutes to? God knows what it is. And the downside is they had an analog clock, not a clock face. The rest of it I can do, right? And my wife hates it, because I turn any digital clock, I turn 24 hours. Because God knows what 17 is, or what 26, what 25 is, or 24 is. God knows. I can't remember because I just find it really difficult to work it out. But a 24-hour clock is the easiest thing for me. So no, I'm with you there. My thing at home is naming appliances.
So, that's a new one.
That is a new one. I know appliances. I mean, I don't put the milk in the washing machine.
Yeah, but that's things like it's like the thing is near the dishwasher when I'm meaning the tumble dryer, or and this over the Christmas period, that it's been really bad for me. That is like I could not name any of the appliances of saying to the screwdriver that's next to that thing that's outside near the white thing that's not the food thing. It's and I'm doing it now. Even it's the tumble dryer. That's what I was thinking of. But that's the thing, and it's you just live with it, and you've got to see that.
Important for families to understand as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is, and that thing is that. And it's the other thing to know is that actually, if you've got if you're coming as a parent, you're actually going to probably also have a dyslexic. You're going to have someone in your family that's dyslexic in the parent line, not just in the child line. That sounds wrong. In the child. So if a child's dyslexic, the parent could be dyslexic. Now I saw it's genetics. Now in my life. In my kind of family tree, my mum and dad are not dyslexic. They both have dyslexic tendencies in different ways, but not they wouldn't be the word typical dyslexic. That's not the right word, but they wouldn't be diagnosed as being dyslexic. My grandfather, he would probably be definitely dyslexic, and my uncle probably would have been if they were both diagnosed.
My father was actually, to be honest.
Yeah, you've said that.
But that's the thing. But
intelligent.
And the thing about it is like I'm 37. I'm very open with my age. I tell people how old I am. And when I was at school, we never called it dyslexia. It wasn't until I was 14 that I was told to use the word dyslexia. My parents used the word dyslexia. I went to a dyslexia association, so I knew the word, but teachers called it SPLD or specific condition or specific learning differences. It's never called dyslexia. And it's like, and you have that. I haven't had it for a long time, but we have had in the past where people have questioned, do we label or do we not label? And I go, so, I used to use this a lot. At the moment, the word virus has a different connotation today than it did 3 years ago or 4 years ago. A virus was an annoying thing that the doctor said to you when they didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it got really annoying. Yeah, or it's you got on your laptop. Yeah, that's right. So people didn't have that connotation. So that's what I used to say. So when the doctor tells you have a virus, you get very annoyed. So, but when someone tells you that you have a kidney stone, or you have cancer, or you have diabetes, or you have asthma, okay, you now know that is something. It's the same concept about dyslexia. Yes, should we label every child? Maybe not, but actually, if we've got a label that we understand what it means, and that again, the real point of that awareness of the dyslexia show, actually we can help people.
Fantastic. I think brilliant.
Sorry, over to you, Guy.
Yeah. Guy's going to take some control back.
That because the time is running away with us and we've got to keep on top of it. But for me, 2022 is the year of positive action. It's about doing things that's going to make a difference. So now that you are captured, you and Jamie, as the nation's leading dyslexics in this small virtual room, what would be really useful would be, firstly from you, Arran, and then from you, Jamie. What can someone do tomorrow when they get up and they go to work or they go to school? What could they do to make the world, whether they are dyslexic or not, what could they do to make the world a better place for other people who are dyslexic?
Oh, that's a hard question, Guy. That is. I like that question. So if they were dyslexic, is just understand their own differences and strengths. So that is the important thing. It is. And then the other thing is, I think for someone that isn't dyslexic or changing something, and of course my doorbell's just gone now. This is typical life like that. My Alexa is going to say there someone's at the front door, which is really useful. I turned everything else off, but hey ho. And now I've lost the question. Okay, so a person, what would a person do? I think just listen. I think that's a real thing. I think listen is a big thing, because actually having someone to listen to you actually could change that. That's a really big thing for me. I think that thing, it could really change that, and that way, that approach. And I would actually say, I would say to any dyslexic in the workplace, go to Access to Work. Look at Access to Work. Access to Work is the best scheme in the UK. It's there. If you're a large employer, of course you won't have that. If you work for a large organisation, Access to Work is still available to you, but probably more likely your large employer will actually should support you. And what I always say to parents is be knowledgeable, and that's the thing. The Dyslexia Show is there. So I'm going to be quiet for a second, because I can talk for England, as we know.
Great answer. Actually, understanding. I think understanding is a great answer, and listening is a great answer as well. And I say that all the time. If you've got nothing to say, be the one that listens, because by listening, you could fundamentally save someone's life or change the world for them. Yeah. But actually, I think what ties in very, very close with understanding, if I was going to say to do one thing, is respect. Mm-hmm. Not only if you're a dyslexic, respect yourself, respect your strengths, respect your weaknesses. Respect the fact that, it's there, and you're not going to get away with it. You can't just take a tablet and it all goes away and everything okay. So respect it. If you're good at something, respect it. If you're not so good at something, respect it. And on the flip side, if you haven't got dyslexia, then respect people for their strengths and weaknesses. So just because someone can't spell very well, but let me tell you, chances are they could probably take your engine apart and put it back together again. Yeah. And so you're going to need them for other things as well. So the world is made up of different people for different reasons, and some people are academic, and that's because we need doctors and librarians and literatures and teachers. We need those people in the world, but other people are practical because we need mechanics and carpenters and builders and tradesmen, and some people are gifted in other areas. So it's down to respect, in my opinion, Aaron.
I would say as well, as a non-dyslexic, but people are willing to help. So ask for help in the workplace, because like myself, I worked with someone who was severely dyslexic, and he needed help with forms. And the forms, and he didn't really want to ask for help. And, I worked out a way to get the forms off him to be able to help him. And people are willing to help out there in the workplace to make life easier. But you kind of got to ask for it or work around it. Don't be afraid.
You've got to be able to talk about it. It's like there's an everyday thing that we do. So you ring your phone company up or your gas company up, and they ask you for your password, but they ask you for characters 1, 5, and 12. Yeah. Right now, for starters, you panic because did I ever create a 12-character password? That's the first thing you panic with, because you went, is that one of my passwords? I don't think it is. And then it's like I've rang up and I wanted to change my mobile phone contract to a 5G contract, and they asked me the password. So I told them my first password. I went, no, that's not right. And I was like, any chance you can tell me how many characters it is? And they went, no, we can't. I went, well, let's just try this other one. And I went, oh, it's only a 5-character password. And I'm like, not very secure, but I now know what the password is. But that's the point, is that in certain situations that could be really unaccessible. Yeah, it is, because if you're not given that time, so like I am still with a very big high street bank that's probably red, and that's about as much as we're going to say about it. And that was their password policy for their online a long time ago. And I spent hours of resetting my password, and their process was, if you got it wrong twice, you then had to wait 7 days for the password to come in the post to reset it. And I was then, that's not very accessible. Now you either put your full password in, or it remembers you with your PIN, with your 5-digit security PIN, and actually that's more accessible. And that is the point, is that actually that is more accessible. Or you use your thumb, or you use your face. That's even more accessible. And that's
wants to see my face more than once, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, well.
So come on in, Guy. What have you got? Any other questions?
Well, I have an observation, because that thing about passwords is absolutely massive, isn't it? Because it encompasses two things, doesn't it? If you forget it, is that dealing with direct questions when someone says what is letter 3 and all that sort of thing. and dealing with direct questions scrambles the brain, doesn't it, and drives a lot of people
it's
crazy.
working memory. It's working memory, and that is an issue for a dyslexic. The dyslexic brain has issues with working memory, so it's retrieving information quickly enough, and then communicating it. Because actually, if we break down a step, so the first step is you've asked me a question, Guy. Second thing is then I've got to find the answer. Third thing, I've got to then be able to speak the answer or communicate the answer. And if I've got to communicate it from my mouth, that's a bit easier. I've got to communicate it from my hand. I've then got to send the signal from my brain to my hand to grip a pen, to then make the pen. And then the answer starts with this letter that actually I don't like, which is Q, because I know there's a letter after it I've got to use. And the next letter is U. What was the question that Guy asked me? Because I've done like 17 things in that process to get to that one point. And that is the thing, that working memory is what we're talking about.
And I think as well, to go back to what you said quite early on in terms of useful tips for people is, do you need to send an email? Can you make a phone call instead? If you do need to send an email, does it need to be 4 pages long, or can it just be 4 lines? There are loads of things, aren't there, that if people actually stop for a moment and think about their method of communication, what is the easiest, clearest, and simplest? And what would, if anybody just thinks, how would I like to receive something? We all prefer something simple, direct, and quick, and to the point that we can look at and process easily. So, you've already come up with brilliant ideas without knowing.
I know, and that's really interesting, because like I like to have a conversation with someone. I prefer to have a conversation with someone, and then I need to remember to follow up with an email. Normally I forget, but that's the thing. But I find there's a certain app that everyone uses to message each other, which works across platforms, which I have no issue with individual people. But if I'm in a group, if I don't sit there and read every single message as it comes in, and if I have to come back and see 37 messages of different people, I just go, nope, that's it. I don't care what's happening.
So do I. It's called WhatsApp. It absolutely drives me mental.
Yeah. I don't do WhatsApp groups. I don't like them. I'm in a few of them, and I just find them really difficult.
I just switch up, and then people go, "Oh, you didn't get back to us." So like, yeah, no, but 50 other people did. So I just thought I would follow.
That's right. That's the thing. And that's it. Like, you can send me an email and cut the emails. Like, I have 27 email addresses, give or take, and it's fine. I have no issue with that. And I have no issue with like I do. I'm a bit sad like that, but that's fine. I have multiple companies, and I'm a big fan of like, I follow GDPR quite closely, so you've got to do it. But I know I wear a Microsoft hat. I'm a massive fan of Microsoft Teams, because to me it's a little bit easier. And I also know that if I really need to, I can press the 3 little dots and I can run an app called Immersive Reader, and it reads it to me. Now, yes, I know on my phone I can do that in WhatsApp, but actually it's going to read everything out, and it's not going to be as easy for me. And that's the thing. You just got to think about it. But then you look at it on the other side, actually, WhatsApp might be the easiest thing for that person, because actually they only have a mobile phone. It's really interesting. I work with a lot of people in India, and WhatsApp is it's the only way you communicate for business in India.
Wow.
I think from my angle, that what I've learned from talking to people is that there are loads of tools out there of different sorts, and you have to take, this is the annoying thing, isn't it, that you have to take time to work out how they can work for you. There are no silver bullets. You've got to think, because you might think dictation is the answer, but do you need to launch a whole program just to dictate a 1-line answer for an email? Possibly not. So you've got to find out what these things do and how to use them, and if you've got the time and the opportunity and the energy to do that, they can be transformative. So, and that is the glory of the Dyslexia Show, because you'll be able to find out all these things. You'll be able to see the products. You'll be able to hear the ideas. You'll be able to work all this stuff out, and it will make people's lives better. Thanks to Arran Smith.
Yes, well done, Arran. Well done.
Thank you very much, Guy.
We're going to have to wrap it up. It has been amazing. You are always a wonderful guest who just deluges valuable information and fascinating stories and stuff. And we love it. And you bring out the best in Jamie too.
Sorry, say that again, Jamie, because I didn't hear that.
You make the job really easy. We just ask you a question and then get to sit back.
So there's one of the speakers at the Dyslexia Show is a lady called Penny Aston. So she runs an organisation called Groups Dyslexia Aware Counselling, based in London. Amazing organisation. She's an amazing lady, and she uses a terminology called DVD. It's called dyslexia verbal diarrhea, because we have got so much information in our head, and the easiest way to get it out is by talking about it.
Well, we're not complaining. Definitely not
complaining. We love having you. So
and
we come back
when you're passionate about stuff, you just go and think, you know what, actually, let's just move stuff. And this is technology for you. It's like for me, technology is just brilliant. I love technology. But you've got to remember to turn it off when you're doing a podcast. That's twice now. I've now been interrupted. It's brilliant. Live podcast. It's on LinkedIn. That's it. That's the persona gone. But the point about it is just come to the Dyslexia Show. Just stop me. You'll see me. I'll be the person with 17 walkie-talkies, 2 high-vises, and quite a stressed space probably running around past you at 90 miles an hour. Just stop me. Have a conversation with me if you're coming to the show. The show is there for people to have that informed choice, and you can find about it by going to dyslexiashow.co.uk.
And we will be there, definitely. Definitely. We're anything for a day out.
Yeah.
Right, Guy, wrap it up, son.
What can I say? It's been wonderful. Aaron, you better go and let that person in who rang the doorbell, because by now they'll be...
My wife did it. I think it was Amazon. It was fine. I think I needed a new calculator. So
of course. Well, thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Charlotte. We should all meet up again at the Dyslexia Show, which is towards the end of March. Not long now. It's going to be amazing. And I look forward to doing this again next year.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for paying attention.
Take care, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.